Well, hello there, YouTube people, and welcome to today's program on the annual Medicare enrollment period. It's Peggy and Charlie again with the best chapter.
So, our discussion today is going to be very timely for those of a certain age, and it could well be educational for those who are not quite at that point yet. So, every year you have one opportunity to enroll in a Medicare supplemental or Advantage program. Of course, there are some exceptions, but we're not going into those today.
Yeah.
Mostly, you just have one chance to make a change for the upcoming 2023 year. The annual enrollment period ends December 7th, and if you're not aware, it's Pearl Harbor Day, but aside from that, it began on October 15th, so you have roughly 90 days.
So, the annual enrollment period. So, as Peggy said a little bit earlier, this is when you have a chance to reassess how you feel about your Medicare insurance plan and make a change. So, most people make changes because they decided they can't continue to afford the cost of premiums, that they have premiums, or their co-insurance costs are going to go up, or their co-payment costs are going to go up. They might not have liked any of the providers and physicians and hospitals that they get to choose from. They might not like that. And they may feel like they might do a little bit better on some of their plans. So those are the three reasons people really should reassess where they're going next year. Now, one last thing. Your current insurance carrier has to send you a notice of all of the changes that are going to happen in 2023.
They come fairly early.
They come pretty early. So you have a pretty good idea if your premiums are going to go up or if your co-payments are going to go up, your co-insurance. So you really need to look at that. That's not something that just put in your little folder in the back and say, I'm not thinking about that.
Yeah, and that's the 90 days to think
Yeah.
about things.
Yeah.
So, as you can see already, this one is right up Charlie's alley. So, she worked in the Medicare industry for many years, emphasis on the word industry. It's a money-making endeavor, and we have to accept that when we're dealing with it. So, let's do a quick summary of the different health insurance plans in which the people who listen to us, our listeners, might be enrolled.
Right. So if you're going to make a change, you might be currently in one of these three kinds of Medicare plans. Basic Medicare, and it is very basic.
Yes.
So you will have to pay your Medicare Part B premium, definitely, and then you will have to pay the annual deductible. You will have to pay all of your co-insurances. You'll have to pay your hospital co-insurance when you go in the hospital. So that's a very basic plan. There's no additional premium, and that's why some people choose to go that route, because they just don't have the cash every month to pay for additional health insurance. Not a bad idea, but
Very basic.
very
Yeah.
basic.
Mhm.
The most popular plans right now are Medicare Advantage plans. And that's like a whole group of plans that kind of make up a category, and they're health maintenance organizations, better known as HMOs, or preferred provider organizations, better known as PPOs. There are differences. You get more choices in a PPO, but there will be a premium cost. And then the final one are Medicare supplement plans. Also very popular, but they have pretty big premiums.
Yeah.
So the people who are choosing Medicare supplement plans usually have a little bit more discretionary income to pay for plans.
And don't forget, there are so many of these plans that they have a alphabet soup
Yeah.
of letters that they are designated by A, G, D, K.
Right.
So, yeah.
Last but not least, because we're going to talk about this separately, though, is the Medicare Part D prescription drug plan. If you're in basic Medicare, you will need a prescription drug plan. Medicare Advantage plans, most often Part D is included with that. Supplemental plans, you will have to buy a prescription drug plan separately. We're going to talk at the end of our little program here. We're going to talk about that.
Now, a little reminder to throw in here
Very good.
that you still pay your monthly Part B from your Social Security check automatically, no matter what. That does not change. So if you get a supplemental program and you have a premium, that is in addition.
Addition to.
Okay.
Always in addition to.
Yeah.
So we want to be really clear in here for most of you who are already enrolled in our doing this annual program. You're going to know that, but it's always a good thing to remind people you don't get out of your Part
Exactly.
B. So the whole point here is just to be thinking about what it might cost you out of your own pocket every
Yeah.
single year.
Yeah.
And co-insurance costs can go up,
Yeah.
co-payments can go up. You just really have to pay attention to this time, and we strongly encourage everybody to do it. And we love what old saying, Peggy?
That there are no free lunches. And we want to throw in here that no matter what you do, Medicare is not free. Medicare does not pay, quote, everything. So listen up and pay a bit of attention. So you've got deductibles and you've got co-insurances and you've got other expenses that come along. So let's continue.
Okay, we'll continue. One thing we've kind of emphasized here, cost. But one thing that you need to think about if you're, kind of leaning toward making a change is that right now the thing that is really dissatisfying people is it's really hard to get a doctor.
Oh my gosh.
So Medicare Advantage plans, I said, are growing in popularity because you can often get them with no premium, additional premium, or a small additional premium. So obviously, if you're cost conscious, like the two of us are, we're both in a zero premium plan. So the only thing we pay every month is our Part B premium of our Social Security check.
Yeah.
And our prescription drug plan is included.
Yes.
But you may want to go that route. But
Yeah.
the one thing you have in a Medicare Advantage plan is you have a restricted network of providers. So that is the most important thing to think about if you're making a change based on money.
But then again, when isn't your access to a doctor restricted in some way or by something? So, just kind of throw it in there, and that's where we're at in this country. It's kind of tough to get doctor's appointments quite frequently. So, you don't get a whole lot of choice on your doctor anyway, as I said, and that's a whole nother discussion to have for another day because we can really get into detail on that one. But you first of all have to have a doctor who accepts Medicare before anything else, because not all doctors do accept it, and they're not required to accept it. So
No.
you have to, first of all, make sure that your doctor accepts Medicare.
Well, I moved here from Florida a few years ago. And in Florida, because there is such a large population of people who are on Medicare, almost every doctor accepts Medicare, or they probably wouldn't even be in business.
Yeah.
But where I live now, it's maybe 50-50.
Yeah.
So you really have to think that through,
Yeah.
definitely.
Personally, I think
So-
they should all have to take it, but that's another discussion.
But, so we talked a little bit about Medicare Advantage and their limited provider networks. The thing that attracts people about a supplemental plan is they can go to any doctor who does accept Medicare. So that gives them a much broader range of choices. The same thing is true
Yeah.
for basic Medicare, except you have a lot more costs that you're going to incur when you see the doctor.
Yeah.
So you have to, these are things everybody balances.
Yeah.
And, if you're facing a very serious illness and you want to go to that super specialty oncologist who is in another state. If you're in an HMO plan, or
Yeah.
you're probably not going to be able to do that.
Let's
So,
face it, in this country, medical care is based on money.
Yeah.
How much money you have, how much money you can afford to pay.
Yeah.
And afford, I use the term loosely because sometimes you can get in a jam where you're going to really be, what assets you have are going to be sucked up by medical care.
well, we were kind of laughing in a kind of
Dark.
comedic, dark fashion earlier about a circumstance that I had this summer, which is I belong to an HMO, and it's wonderful because I have a zero copayment plan for my primary care physician. And I had two little things go wrong this summer, and I could not get an appointment with my primary care physician either time. So I had to seek care at an urgent care center with a $40 copayment.
Yeah, whereas your
So-
primary physician would have been a
Zero
zero
copayment.
copayment.
These are all things you have to really think about what happened to me last year. Hopefully everybody who's listening had a great year. I didn't need to go to their doctor, but it happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
So we just want to say this to
Yeah.
everybody out there.
You have to
This
think
is-
about
yeah.
it, and you have to, yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
So this is your medical care.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peggy. So
So, so let's, when we're talking about, for example, the drug, Part D, the fact of the matter is, let's have a bit of a data alert here. How about some perspective so people get a grip on this? Almost 90% of older adults regularly take at least one medication, prescription drug. 80% regularly take at least 2 prescriptions. Now, 36% of people take 5 different prescriptions. This can have a heck of an impact on your pocketbook and on the program you choose.
yeah.
So,
Well, that's really why we wanted to talk about the prescription drug benefit separately. Because with those kinds of numbers, the majority of people who are on Medicare are going to have a prescription, at least one that they get filled, and probably more
More
than
than one.
more than that.
Yeah.
And it's complicated. It's all
complicated. And I swear it's that way on
Yeah.
purpose, but let's go on.
And unless you're like us, we shared, our prescription drug benefit is included. There's no additional premium.
Yeah,
We still could have significant copayments.
yeah.
Or co-insurance.
Yeah, which is a percentage.
Yeah. And so, there are no free lunches.
I know.
There are going to be costs associated with, your
Exactly.
prescription drug benefit.
Exactly.
But if you're out on the free market
Yeah, and then
purchasing a Part D plan,
that's kind of where we are.
it's complicated. And you need to be a wise consumer.
Yeah.
So,
So here's the thing too. You should be out there doing your research. I mean, you
Absolutely,
should.
you
But
should.
let's say that you have a problem understanding it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Try to grab a friend or a relative, or maybe go to your senior center if there's one near you and ask for help, or any number of things. But get help and understand what's going on. And if you can't understand it, at least get the kind of help that will steer you to the right thing that you need.
yeah. And I want to emphasize that the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, a long name for Medicare, they have a really great website. It's called medicare.gov. You can go in there and you can compare the costs of prescription drug plans. However, it really takes a lot of effort. You have to put the name of your drug in, you have to take the amount of the drug that you're taking. So it's a tough thing to do, but this could be something that could cost you a lot of money.
So-
And this is your chance
Is it
to
worth
make a
it to do
change.
this work? Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Very much so. That's why I say, if it is a little eluding you how to do this, get some help.
There's about 3.5 weeks left before the December 7th timeline where you
Yeah.
have to have made a choice for next year
Yes.
under the majority of the circumstances. There
Yes.
are always exceptions because that's the way it goes
Yes.
with the government plan. But that's the way it is from the best chapter, and we encourage you to do it.